What's your name?
Chase Carson, Your Honor.
What's your name?
Amanda Williams.
Co-parents?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jessica Larson on behalf of plaintiff Oak Sparrow, along with representative of the property.
Okay, today was the date set for hearing for termination of tenancy. Did the parties come to a resolution?
We haven't spoken on this one, Your Honor. From the prior hearing, my understanding is we've got quite a dispute. I don't think that we're in dispute on possession. The tenants are indicating that they actually vacated far before we believe that they did. So I don't know. I don't think that a resolution is likely on this one, Your Honor. I do say that I will say the issue of possession is probably moot because the tenants are indicating you moved out.
I don't know what prior hearing you're talking about. I have a note here. Let's see. It's a pre-trial. Present. The tenant's no longer in possession of the property. There was a hearing for the 18th. Okay, so what happened? You're saying you vacated the property?
Yes, Your Honor. I was served a 7-day on May 24th. I'm new to this whole process. I've always paid all my bills. So at that point, I uprooted everything that I could take, including my family, and we vacated the property. I attempted to make a phone call to Miss Sandy Bristol. Fell upon deaf ears, as many communications had to that point. At that point, thought this was all behind us, and then all of a
Communication
sudden,
saying that you have vacated? Is that what you mean?
yes, I attempted to contact her and let her know the key was on the counter, and we were out of there. No response.
Do you have record of where you?
I did text her and ask her why on the day of the that I received the 7-day. Because at that point, it was to my knowledge, we were doing everything that we could to stay in the property because we had previously had a case due over our animal that they tried to evict us and they lost in court. But for whatever reason, that still shows up on our record. So when we attempted to go get a new home when they refused to renew our lease, we have a red flag. I can't rent anything. They won't even show me places. So I reached out to Miss Bristol and in good faith, I said, I will do whatever it is in my power to keep my family in this home. I jumped through their hoops. I gave them record of my dogs. I obtained insurance.
Are we talking about this eviction though?
What's that?
I'm talking about this eviction, not the previous one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, I'm sorry. I guess I missed it.
Okay, because I thought you were talking about there was another eviction about an animal.
At it. They were ruled against in the courtroom.
So since receiving this notice of eviction, that's when you reached out that you would do anything?
Yes, after when I attempted to, because then we went back and finished out our lease, and then we got a letter in the mail that they are choosing not to renew. So I was like, that makes sense. And I attempted to find a place. When I realized we were blacklisted and I couldn't even rent a place, then I reached out to them and said, I'm willing to do anything that you would like. And I did everything they like. They walked the property. Everything looked good. There was no damage to the property. And then all of a sudden, the letter comes in the mail, you need to leave within 7 days. So in fear of another thing going on my record, I took what we could and we vacated there. We were gone before June.
When you say you took what you could, doesn't sound like you took all your stuff.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And then you didn't turn over possession.
Like I said,
What did you leave there?
I just things that we didn't have space to store or anything. I took the possessions, our day-to-day possessions, and we bounced around since. We were going to make an attempt to clean the place up if that was their request, but again, she did not give me any communication back and forth until we got a new court date.
So you communicated with her in via text after you left?
Yes, I asked her on the 24th. I said, why? And she says, you have continued to ignore us. You never submitted the animal application, and the dogs were an issue. It's too much of a liability.
Did you tell her that you vacated? Did you tell her that you vacated?
No, because I hadn't at that point. This was the day that I received the 7 day.
I want to know about communicating that you vacated.
That was a telephone call.
Okay, you called her?
I don't have a record of the telephone call.
Did you talk to her on the phone? Or did she not answer?
No answer.
Did she leave a voicemail?
The home, but no communication came back. We even cleaned the property and made sure there was no damage. Judge. So, when you say you left, you took your day-to-day possessions but not everything? Amanda Williams. Correct. We took what we could store at that time. Some things were left behind that we didn't have space for, and we intended to clean up more if they requested it. But I never got a response. Judge. And did you communicate?
I was not able to leave a voicemail.
Why not?
I to be honest, I don't know if her mailbox was full or what have you, but I wasn't able to leave her a message at that time.
Okay, so how was she supposed to know that you vacated?
Answer the call.
Okay. So when you called, let's say she was tied up and busy, couldn't answer. Or maybe technology didn't work well. And she didn't even know you called.
I don't know how to answer that for you. It was a confusing, scary time for me. I have not experienced things like this. I just like I put my hands in there. We're out of here. Like I've done everything I
And
can.
you left the keys there? You
Yes.
stayed at the property? Okay, counsel?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Counsel, the property appears to have been vacated, but there was a number of things left there?
There was a substantial amount of things there left, Your Honor. From my understanding, the tenants continued to reside there because they were paying utilities there. And so the date of the hearing that I think Your Honor read, that was in front of Judge Buchanan. My client didn't get notice of the utility switch over. There was no indication of keys being left. There was no written notification. There was no verbal notification. Up until that hearing, we had no idea that they were going to even claim that they had moved out back in May.
Where were you still paying?
Well, we had past due amounts, so I was paying the minimums at that time to keep my name from getting to the point where I wouldn't be able to put utilities in my room at the next, or I mean my name at the next residence that we wouldn't be at.
My client didn't get notification of any utility turnover until, again, after the hearing that was before Judge Buchanan back in November.
Which law would have been communicated had her client answered the phone call, but she put me
Well,
on silent. Do
you
not
didn't change the
disturb.
utilities over to your new place. Where did you
I can't find a new place because
Okay,
of
so
this.
you don't have a new place?
No, I'm bouncing around, staying with my mother at home.
Okay.
This has created quite a
But
situation.
but
for us.
you didn't disconnect the utilities at the place you was paying about. You have some evidence of the utility bill?
No, I don't have evidence of the utility bill.
Yeah. So do you have any evidence of what was left in the property?
I have a ton of videos and photographs, Your Honor. My client has also gone by the property several times and can indicate that the vehicle that Mr. Carson and Ms. Williams, that vehicle was outside of that property on many occasions when she was driven by. There's a ton of stuff outside of the property. There was absolutely no indication that these parties had vacated. There's shoes on the porch.
Show your evidence.
And Your Honor, I will say too that the client.
Was there any physical evidence of us being there, or a picture of my vehicle there? Because I can guarantee that wasn't the case. They park in the driveway next door.
Okay.
So
Well, how would you know where my client parked?
Where are you? If you all want to talk
They
off the record,
are
off the record. Bye. You can talk outside if you want to talk to each other. If you want me to handle it, then you talk to me. You can talk outside. Next case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you've not come to resolution, correct?
We have not. It sounds like we're at an impasse, Your Honor.
Okay, so then you need to talk to me and not to each other. Back and forth is not going to be allowed. If you start back and forth, I got to move on. Look at all these people behind you waiting for their turn.
Apologies, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll allow you to present your evidence.
At this point, Your Honor, it sounds like based on some of the claims that the tenants are going to make as far as the utilities and how those were paid, I'm not able to access that. My client is not able to access a record that is in the tenant's name without a subpoena. So I'd ask the court to allow me to issue a couple of discovery subpoenas and reset this matter.
You said about how the utilities were paid, you mean?
Yes, my understanding is that utilities remained in the tenant's name, that they were paying those regularly until that November hearing of Judge Buchanan. The tenants are now claiming that they were only making the minimum payments and they were paying past due amounts. I'm unable to access those records. My clients have called and they've tried to get at them, but the utility companies obviously are not going to release an account in someone else's name. So I think that would be an essential piece of evidence in this case. And so I'm asking for the ability to issue subpoenas to Water Light and consumers.
That's fine. Is the property secured and winterized?
My clients have gone into the property, Your Honor. I don't know if they have. I would like an order actually confirming the possession that they can retake it because they have gotten a notice from the city that they've asked for an extension until Monday in order to remove trash from the property. Otherwise, they're going to give a violation.
So there's trash that you're saying that they left. Can I see?
Yes.
Ron, if that's something that I'm privy to as well.
Okay, so it's front porch. This is from the code enforcement. They said that there was trash found in boxes, bags, and barrels on front porch, clothing and cloth products on front porch, deteriorated metal product on front porch, loose trash and debris, front porch, in yard, around and behind the house. Did you leave trash at the property?
I guess you could consider it trash. Yes, there were several items that I explained that I.
I wasn't able to leave a voicemail. I wasn't sure if her voicemail was full or if there was a technical issue, but I couldn't leave a message. Judge. So, how is she supposed to know you vacated if you didn't leave a message or get a response? Amanda William. I understand that now. It was a stressful time, and I was overwhelmed. I left the keys there and thought everything was done. Chase Carson, Your Honor, based on my understanding,
Had no choice but to leave behind. I didn't have.
No, you have a choice.
I did not.
You do have a
I had the
choice.
financial ability to do that.
Did you put the trash there?
I'm sorry.
Did you put the trash there?
There were items in the home.
Did you put the items? Did you put the items? Did you put the items that have accumulated causing code compliance to come and issue this concern violation about? Did you put it there?
On the porch, no.
So the things there are not yours. How did they get there?
I don't know. They've had the property.
Do you have
since May.
pictures?
I have some pictures of the exterior of the property, yes, Your Honor.
I can't say what they're.
I didn't ask you to speak right now. Do you have copies for him?
I handed him one.
Okay, I see a helmet. I see a look like child's car, a welcome mat, or something welcome thing. I don't know what this is. I didn't ask you to speak over me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It looks like something else on the porch. I don't know what it is.
It's to be boxes and shoes.
You said boxes and what?
It looks to be 2 empty boxes and a pair of shoes.
What are the toys in the front yard?
Those were toys that my children played with outside that I have nowhere to store now. So they were items that were yet and left behind.
Okay, so there's shoes, there's boxes. I didn't see debris. You didn't put those there?
I'm sorry?
You're saying you didn't put these things there?
That's why I said, is it trash or what are the items so that I can specifically tell you? Like, I wouldn't consider my kids' toys trash, but to each their own opinion.
You left the things here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then you think that they're supposed to be responsible?
This photo was taken while we still live there, by the way. That item is in our possession. That football helmet is currently in our possession. I don't know where these pictures were taken or when, but that time frame they just gave you is wrong. Actually, multiple items that are in these pictures are currently in my possession.
Could I ask him to confirm what date he's going to say that he moved out?
What day did you move out of your property?
It would have been May 30th and 31st.
I might took these photographs at the end of June.
Any other evidence that you have today?
I have a witness with me, Your Honor.
Take the stand.
Okay.
Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
I do.
You can have a seat.
And are you a representative of Oak Sparrow Properties?
I am.
Are you employed by Sandy's Property Management?
I was in 2024, yes.
Thank you. And are you familiar with the file for Chase Carson and Amanda Williams?
I am.
Have you, and they've lived at, have you, since May of 2024, have you been to that property?
Yes.
More than once?
I drove by the property at least once a month from June until November 20th was the last time because I was told that they had told the court they had vacated.
And that's all through 2024?
Yes.
And did you observe any changes in the property between May and November?
Yes.
Did items appear to be moved?
Yes.
Did it appear to you that there was somebody residing in the home?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the vehicle driven by either Chase Carson or Amanda Williams?
I've seen Chase put dog into I think it was a white kind of work type van possibly, or a panel. It was yes.
So you would recognize their vehicle?
I recognized it on the street. I wouldn't recognize it out in traffic.
Fair enough. When on these occasions that you've described driving by the property, did you observe that vehicle?
Once or twice on the street, yes.
And that was a vehicle that you had seen Mr. Carson access?
Yes.
At any point in time over the summer of 2024, did you get any notification from the city regarding any unkept lawns?
No.
is that an indication to you that the lawn had been kept appropriate for the
Yes.
city? Sure. I'm sorry? You said something, sir?
Do I need to?
I thought he was interjecting. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Have you been in contact with the utility company? And at any point in time, have you received notification that the utilities are being transferred into Oak Sparrow's name?
No,
At any point in time, have either Mr. Carson or Ms. Williams indicated to you or to your knowledge, have they said that they were moving out?
no,
In April, did they indicate that they wanted to renew their lease?
Yeah.
Were you working on actively renewing the lease?
we were actively working on a month-to-month agreement.
And
What's your objection?
That is not the truth. We,
Objections are for evidentiary foundation, not that you dispute which.
Client did not receive any notice about the utility transfer. There was no written or verbal notification that the tenants had moved out. Up until the hearing, we were unaware they had vacated in May. Amanda William, I was paying the utilities though. I kept paying the minimums to avoid damage to my credit, thinking I could still secure utilities at a new place. Chase Carson, did you disconnect the utilities when you moved out? Amanda William, no,
She's saying. So if you dispute what she's saying, when she's finished, I'll give you an opportunity to give your testimony, but that's not an objection. So if you can continue, ma'am.
thank you. Did Mr. I want to call him the Carsons. Did Mr. Carson or Ms. Williams turn in their keys at any point?
No, not to my knowledge.
Did you ever receive any written notification that they were terminating their lease?
No,
Did you actually appear at the property on May 1st of 2024?
I did.
What was the purpose of that appearance?
To inspect the home to see if there was any animal damage and to give animal applications and to explain what paperwork the owners have requested in order for them to stay in the property district.
And so that was part of a process of extending the lease.
Correct. Mr. Carson also provided me with documentation for the dog licenses and vet records, which I did copy for him and returned on May 7th. I did not enter the property on May 7th.
So you say that you've gone by once a month at least to check on the property.
Yeah.
And you've seen a vehicle that you believe to be mine there, correct?
A few times, yes.
And what was that vehicle?
I think it's a white van or some type of panel that has doors on the back.
Your Honor, I have no white van. I do not own a white van.
Okay.
I've never.
This is time for you to give or ask her questions, not time for
Oh,
argument.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, that's. And are you familiar? You said you were familiar with neighbors then?
I did not say I'm familiar with the neighbors.
Okay. Are you aware that they have children there?
I did not.
Okay. And are you aware that children will play with toys if they see them, such as a power wheel left outside that could move a couple times?
Objection
Because
call for
kids-
speculation.
Just saying that the neighbors next door, Your Honor, they have several.
The question
children
is
that
it
play with
possible?
toys.
Is it possible that the neighbors?
Yeah, is it possible that someone else?
No, I'm asking you. Was that your question?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm asking, is it possible that someone else may have moved a toy outside the home? That's what you're going on
Objections
for us to be
overruled. You
there?
can answer it.
I guess anything's possible.
Okay. And any of the times that you have drove by the home, did you physically see myself or any member of my family? Okay. And when you called to ask about the utilities, they wouldn't speak to you, correct, about how it works. So it's a good possibility that we were paying the minimums to keep
Objection,
our name from
argument.
getting.
Well, that
And
will
that's
cause
speculation.
That causes speculation. You don't have to answer that.
Okay. Well, my point, Your Honor, is that in order to get something taken out of your name, you have to